Mitch.
Yes, sir.
It's topic number 2. Kevin's on here. I gotta write down my own notes. I hate that.
That's
you know
fine.
what I mean? He's making me work for a living.
Kevin.
I want, and this is gonna double back, like I was saying in the last topic, to
Like
stuff
we
you
do.
said in that topic and all these different
Yeah.
things. What is the state of video games journalism? You said something very interesting in the last topic.
Okay.
That was the first time you really felt like a journalist, like you
Yeah.
were doing something there.
Yeah.
And then you worked news and you made a reference to this game comes out on this date. This is where are we right now? Do you think is there games journalism happening? What does it all
Yes.
look like?
There will always be a place for the news, right? Like the act of a publisher making something and wanting the world to know about it, whether it's on their own sites or through the press, will exist for a long time.
Yeah.
They will always need to get that information, to communicate that information to the player. You will always want people to know your game is coming out, that you have a cool actor associated with it, that you've got cool plans, that you're going to have a demo at PAX, whatever. That stuff will always be there. It's not the most fun stuff in the world to write, but it's necessary and people are excited about it, so you do it. It's also like a gateway to bigger things, where it's like, oh, we know this thing about this game. Now we can write an opinion piece or a feature or follow-up interview, whatever. Like that is a gateway to do more with something.
Sure.
But there's also like actual amazing, awesome journalism in the industry right now. And I think Kotaku is doing the absolute best of it in the entire industry. Jason Schreier and Patrick Klepek are amazing.
Yeah, they're doing a great job.
Those guys do such different work than anybody else. Like those guys were constantly an inspiration for me. And anytime I got a good story, I was always just like, oh, like, is it as good as anything they've ever done? And the answer is usually no. Like, no matter how good I did, it's still like, man, like, Klepek is so, like, that dude is on another level, and I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
But he does it because he's been doing this for 15 years.
And it's what you were talking about in the last one, right? About the interviewing, where Patrick's a person. You know what I mean? Like, you know he cares about it. I could tell him anything off the record. Not that I'm saying my secrets are on that level, but I could tell him anything, and I trust him just like any other developer publisher would.
Yeah, and that's like... the best kind of journalist is somebody who isn't always in it for the story.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like they interview somebody and they get off the record information, they hold that and they go like, oh, maybe I can use that later. But that's not why they're there. They are, doing their job and they're learning stuff and they're just kind of like soaking it in. And a really good journalist will soak stuff in and, when the time is appropriate, be able to tell a story that matters. And you're not going to just like, somebody tells you something off the record, you're going to blow it open now and ruin a relationship and maybe a contact and your reputation for one good story. And that's when you meet people, when I meet people, even to this day for the first time, and they start getting gun shy about it, I'm like, now it's easy because it's like, let me run you through all the things I knew about for months at a time and never ever said anything. Why would I blow it up for this? Yeah, and I think it's different across different websites, right? Like you see certain sites running things that I would at IGN never qualify as news. Like if Phil Spencer tweeting his thoughts on something is not always news.
Yeah.
Phil Spencer congratulating PlayStation is not news. Like there are certain things that just don't matter.
Sure.
And Kotaku has always been really, really good at like, oh, they announced DLC release date. We don't care. Like we're going to pass on that because if it's not original or interesting or beneficial to somebody playing games or reading Kotaku, who cares? Don't waste your time. Spend that time doing better work. And that's why they do better work than a lot of other places online.
Do you worry about their viability? And then also, I guess, just more people doing this, right? Because we're talking about it. And I think it is, the list gets pretty short. We're going to talk about Jason, we're going to talk Patrick, and then we're going to start talking about, and it's like, there's people out there doing it, but the journalism is there in such a fashion where it is like, what you're talking about, like, all right, cool. This character's in the game. This is the DLC package. This is the release date, whatever. So I'll put up that story and then I'll think about features about it. I'll think about interviews, but most people are just like, here it is. You know what I mean? And all these fan sites that are just putting up the same. It's just like, echo.
And I don't know, like that's how I got my start. It was just like, oh, news happened. I'm going to write about it.
Sure.
And hopefully some people read it and some people notice it. But it's not until you start doing original work, whether that's like an opinion piece or a feature or whatever, something critical, something different, that you and your website's voice starts to stand out as distinct.
Yeah.
And the best websites are the ones that do that. Obviously, it's like if you have a perspective that is different than the publishers, now you have an interesting thought and you can say something crazy like Colin might, or you might say something super, super intelligent or astute that like nobody else is thinking about. You might compare somebody's business strategy to something else that does or doesn't work. And you can weigh all these things against each other to form an opinion and share a view with an audience that is interested in learning more because they care about whatever you're talking about, right? Like, somebody who's interested in Uncharted 4 is going to want to know certain things about it. And sometimes they don't know what they want. They know they want to know the release date. They know they want to see some gameplay footage. But then there might be stories about the making of that game that are super interesting and that they didn't know they wanted to know.
Sure.
So if you can kind of predict what people will be interested in, which is sort of the foundation of your business, then you can create something that people are going to gravitate toward and orbit around, because it's a reliable, consistent, qualitative thing that is about things I care about. And that is like the definition of what a good games media, whether it's journalism or whatever, like that is what good games coverage is.
Do you worry though that, I mean, is that going to burn out in terms of like, here we're going to do real journalism, we're going to do real stories. Is that going to burn out at the big .coms? Because my concern when I look at the big .coms, and I'm including everybody who's a big .com.
Do you mean like IGN or like
yeah, I mean like
Weekly?
IGN. No, I'm talking about video games. GameSpot, IGN. You go there, and it is such a shotgun approach, and it is such big headlines that it does become that. I'm like all I always talk about is how we work, like, right, and I always talk about it being the same boring, tired out, old fucking played out analogy, right, that I talk about with video game publishers, right, and developers, where it was like we have the AAA developers, we have the indie developers, and in the middle was these mid-tier guys who have fallen away. And I see that happening now, where it's like you have the big .coms and you have the little guys like us on YouTube, and then the middle tier people,
and then you see like Destructoid like losing a lot of people, and you see Joystick shutting down.
Yep, exactly. Those sites are starting to fall away. So then for me, my concern is somebody who, like Colin, likes the written word, likes long form content, likes all these different things, even though I'm fucking a hypocrite right there, because like I guess I read Kotaku stuff, that counts. I'm talking about when's the last time I sat down and read like a really long form, but then again, when's the last time somebody wrote something really long form and great? But what I'm saying is, the .coms, it is, here's the top 10 list, and here's this tweet from David Ayers about the Suicide Squad, and like it's all these little things to the point that the way I always think of how we work in it is, oh man, IGN's review of Batman v Superman went up, or IGN has a new clip of Batman v Superman. I consume this news, this breakout. What did Greg think of it? And you go to your expert commentary, your expert person, your person you connect that with.
And I think there will always be a place for that. There will always be a place for critical thinking and expert analysis.
Yeah.
And that'll be the thing that differentiates any .com from its journalism kind of output. Like, I think to some degree, there will always be people willing to rewrite press releases. And whether or not that's sustainable is to be TBD. But as long as there are interesting voices surrounding things I care about, I'm always going to want to see that. I'm always going to want to read what Anthony Bresnikan has to say about Star Wars, because he's somebody I really connect with. Because he's at Entertainment Weekly, and it's a big website with like some serious fucking legitimacy, and he's passionate and he gets it, and he asks really good questions, and like I'm super into that. Anytime I see a Star Wars story on EW, I know it's going to be good. And it's also not just going to be like, today J.J. Abrams said the thing.
Sure.
That's not interesting. But when he starts digging into it and speculating about what any of it means, that's when I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. That's a really cool theory. This is a really cool question. He got this really great answer.
Do you see it being, though, that like, we were talking about this at lunch, right? This is what I always talk about, and maybe you don't share the opinion, but I always talk about the fact of like why I got so popular at IGN and why I was able to keep all that going, right? Is that for pretty much 8 years, I was able to focus on one beat. You know what I mean? I established myself as the PlayStation guy. And that, like, I always talk about it like I was, I'm sure in the comments of this very video, people are like, oh, this fucking PlayStation fanboy, right? But it's like, I'm not a fanboy. I just know that inside and out because that's my coverage.
Yeah,
in the same way the Giants reporter isn't
You're
Giants
an anomaly,
fanboy.
though. Like, you're a person who, for lack of a better term, became a celebrity out of growing out of this massive website.
Sure.
And it's like a team, right? Like, growing up, I loved the Phoenix Coyotes when I watched hockey. And when Keith Tkachuk left the Phoenix Coyotes, I was devastated.
Big day for
Don't worry
everybody.
about it. Whatever, bad analogy. I don't give a shit.
No, it's good. No, they understand that.
My favorite player left my favorite team, and I was like, holy shit, who do I follow? And you just end up following both. It's like, well, if I like this person, I'm going to continue following them. But I'm also like, I'm going to read EW if Anthony Bresnikan leaves.
Oh no, and I'm sorry. What I was driving with that point wasn't that personalities leaving the site collapsed the site.
Totally.
Okay.
But,
my thing is saying is I think the day of an 8-year editor are gone. To where are you building it? Are you at IGN right now currently building, or in GameSpot and everybody else? This isn't me sizing them up.
Yeah.
Are you building it so that you understand that when X event happens, I need to go do that? And like with new people, like obviously if like fucking Nintendo shit happens, what does Pear think? What does Fran think? What does Brian think?
So I think that's kind of like the notion and the nature of Twitter and YouTube has sort of created this weird amalgam of like, I don't care who I hear from. I just want to search Uncharted 4 stuff on YouTube, and maybe I get Beyond, maybe I get Kind of Funny, maybe I get a random YouTuber, maybe I get some random guy responding to a trailer.
Sure.
the black hole of like just infinite amounts of people talking about stuff, it makes it harder to specialize. And I don't know what the future of media is with that regard, because you try to do things to differentiate from the rest of them, but it's really hard because there's just so many other people doing so much of the same stuff that to say something different, which is, like we said, super important. You have to say stuff that's different to prove to people that you're interesting, to make them want to stay with your site or with you or whatever. But I don't know if people care about the individual so much as they care about just any kind of insight from anyone. Like I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like the way I consume media is so much different than even the way like you watching this consume media. Like I don't have my kind of funny. I don't have a show that I go to. Like I have a couple podcasts. Like I listen to a Star Wars podcast that I really like, and I love listening to the Idle Thumbs guys, but I'm not there every week.
Right.
I'm not hunting down to like a thing I'm subscribed to on YouTube. Like people, especially people who are younger than me, consume content. I hate that word, so goddamn much content in a very
you got to get on board with it,
I know.
Sir.
And it's
the first time somebody came up to me like 3 years ago to show and was like, "I love your content." I was like, "Wow!" Like I thought only nerds like me at VidCon talk that way. You're just a kid.
Yeah. So like the audience, even the IGN audience, is evolving in a way that I don't understand.
And that's why it's such, because it's this whole thing is so fascinating, and we're cut from the same cloth. Is that we came in thinking we were going to do one job, and
I'm a writer. I'm going to go write about video.
I got hired. Yeah, exactly. And I got to live that dream for a long time, but a little time, and see it change. Where I'll never, like my early days at IGN when like you got there those first, years, but I'm thinking like the first months when it's like, all right, cool, you're gonna review this PSP game, great, and I just sat at my desk and played this PSP game for 5 hours, and it was like no one interrupted me. I didn't have to go on camera. I didn't have a podcast. You know what I mean? There weren't the things you're buried under now, and so like to see it all change and evolve gets me to this point where I'm like, I'm concerned because back to whoever the jerk is in the comments, right? There's a jerk in the comments like, "Oh, these two fuckboys talking about games journalism. Games journalism is dead or never even existed." And And I'm like, you're not 100% wrong. I'll never forget coming here with I have a green magazine journalism.
Yeah.
Hey, Roper, I wrote my first review. All right, cool, post it. Are you going to read it? Is there a copy editor? No, we don't do that. And I was like, you know what I mean? Like the way, not ethics in the terms of like horrible things, but in like the way, like I remember I talked about the Sierra trip they sent me on like my first 2 months there, where it was like, all right, we're going to send you to Palm Springs at this resort. It's a 3-day party. You're seeing 2 games. And I went to this 3-day thing, and I did like a total of 30 minutes of work of playing these 2 games.
And to me now, like, that sounds like such a massive fucking waste of time.
100%.
And like,
that's how different it is now. That shit does not happen.
Totally. And like the idea that like going on a free vacation for work, like that's an amazing idea. But I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, don't even fly. Send me a disc.
I forget.
I don't want to go anywhere.
It just happened recently. I won't name names, but a company hit me up and like, hey, do you want to go? I think it was London. Do you want to go to London to play this game? And I'm like, fuck no. Hell no, I don't want to do that. And I desperately want to get to London, but I don't want to burn a week going to London to play one game.
Yeah.
And so my concern, this is all mixed in the same pot, and just one mix of
stuff. Talking about 30 different things.
I know. But like, where does all this go? I always go back to the fact that we are such a young industry, and I'm talking about games in general. You know what I mean? That if you were to go back and look at movie criticism and movie journalism, entertainment journalism, right? I'm sure if in the first 30 years of that, people are getting scoffing at that as well, and all these different things. But it's had such a lineage to it. It gets to the point now that you understand that there's going to be a Roger Ebert style in-depth review. Yeah. Here's what it means. You can trust me, and then there is going to be the regurgitated press release that.
Yep.
Guess what? Channing Tatum has signed this thing to do this 4-picture deal.
That's fine. Like, I still, as somebody who just cares about the industry and the people in it and the news and the games and whatever, like I want to keep up on that as much as I can. Maybe I'll read games media less, and maybe I'll watch YouTube less because I'm preoccupied with doing different things.
Sure.
But I'm still really interested in like Avengers rumors, and I still really want to see the first image or first trailer from this movie, and I still want to see the trailer for whatever game. Like I'm still. That stuff is still interesting to me. The way I consume it is sort of like, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to let it come to me. And if it's Greg's video that hits me first, I'm going to watch it.
Of course.
And it's such a weird way to consume news.
Yeah, and that's the thing of like, I worry about the Jasons and the Patricks and the stuff that they're doing at Kotaku. Where does that live in this new world? Because if it becomes what the thing I'm talking about, where it's you have your IGNs who are over here and GameSpot, again, none of this is insulting anybody, I hope, insulting to anybody, but they're over there doing top 10 list, big Batman v Superman rumor, here's a tweet, whatever.
Which doesn't mean, like, to clarify what you said about, to clarify your point about like not talking badly about anybody, it's just that it's different businesses.
Yeah.
Different companies require or mandate or get excited about different things. And that's it.
My scare. So anyways, so that's happening. And let's say, all the Gawker stuff pans out and Kotaku fades away or whatever. Then what? Who is doing that? Where does that go? Does it move away 100% from being written? Because I've seen Patrick toying around and I like him.
He's doing a lot of cool videos.
And I'm like, he's taking news stories and making them into videos. I'm like, this is very, very smart.
And I love that. It's smart. Nobody else is doing that. Nobody else is doing documentary style news videos.
And it's Patrick's way ahead of the game. Like Patrick, we're all going to work for Patrick one day is the problem.
And we're going to play his fucking Mario Maker
exactly.
levels.
Because like you go to this kid's YouTube channel and you're like, motherfucker, you're doing all this awesome news content and then all these awesome Let's Plays and fucking, God, I hate you. Or would you like to come work for Kinda Funny? Maybe one day we won't work in the spare bedroom. But that's where does all that live and how does it go? And like in the same way I'm talking about the fact that entertainment journalism, I think probably started in a similar fashion to what we're doing here and how all these growing pains as well. Are we growing or evolving in an unsustainable way? Where because here's my nightmare scenario, and this is for all the big .coms. Was that Kevin or was that Colin?
I missed him. It's Colin.
Okay. If you see Kevin, let him know the light did weird things. Where my concern with the big .coms is that what you're saying, predicting what our audience wants.
Yeah.
And right now our audience wants this buzz style feed content, these funny GIF videos, these funny memes, these tweets.
Well, that's the thing is media has changed, like the expectations of what people want has changed so much. Like when I started at IGN, the wiki stuff was just becoming as massive as it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you wasting our time on fucking guides? People already do guides. No, guides at IGN are massive. They're like 50% of the business.
Yeah.
That's hugely important. And I never would. Like somebody was way ahead of the game, probably Mark Ryan, who was like, we need to be on top of this.
Probably.
And there are people way smarter than me that will continue to do that in media and I was dumb. I was like, cool, I'll just write this thing and I'll do a video when someone tells me to and I'll think about what I would like to do. But there are people who are like, oh, this is the future of media, and it's people like Patrick who are way ahead of the curve.
And see that, and my fear for the .coms is that they're marching in the wrong direction, and it's going to snap back. Where it's going to be, okay, there's a better aggregator site, there's a better BuzzFeed, there's a better videogame.com or whatever, and it snaps back, and it's like the .coms, the GameSpots, the IGNs who their foundation was built on when I was there. IGN, we review everything.
Yes,
Dunham was like, we're reviewing every fucking game, and we all wanted to kill ourselves.
Yep.
But it definitely worked. Whereas like the IGN was the place for video game reviews.
Yeah.
You knew that. So when it snaps back and suddenly it's like, all right, cool. I don't want the Angry Whopper video from an IGN. I am getting that from aggregator or whatever. I want to go see video game reviews. Are people going to still think to go there, or is it going to be now it is this fractured? I'm going to go see my PlayStation coverage at a place like Kinda Funny, my Xbox coverage over there, my Nintendo stuff at Game Explain.
It's going to weirdly be driven by, I think, that like whatever the number is, like 16 to 35-year-olds or whatever, like whatever the major male audience is for all of this, like the majority audience.
Yeah.
Whatever they do next is going to dictate a lot of how every other .com, YouTube, or whatever responds. Because when I started doing this, YouTube was not a factor.
Yeah. Oh God, no.
And you just weren't thinking about it. But you adapt. You're always in the media adapting to what everyone else is doing. And not even like IGN needs to change because GameSpot did this. It's, the audience is going here now. They're talking about Minecraft.
Yeah.
How can we do something there? Like we did
every 6-month pair meeting.
Yeah.
How do we cover Minecraft? I'm like, I don't know, pair. Me and Brian will play it. We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
But it's a matter of like being nimble and improvisational.
Yeah.
The best the media outlets that survive and thrive are the ones who are going to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean,
and I don't know who those are going to be. Like, I just really have no fucking idea.
Well, what's interesting, you know what I mean, is like IGN jumping on Snapchat. And like when they announced it, I was like,
it's fucking awesome.
I was like, is this a big deal? And then I was like, oh, it's a fucking huge deal.
I was so down on it. I was like, why Snapchat? Like, Snapchat is so dumb.
Right.
But it's like the tailored content that team makes for Snapchat is so fucking good.
Yeah.
And it's very digestible, and it fits the platform, and it fits the kind of person who uses it. Stop drawing on your hand.
I'm not. I'm just scratching my head.
All right.
I like getting hand scratches and hand massages.
I'm down. I'm with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just a tactic that like I never would have seen coming. And there are smarter people making better decisions than me.
And that's the thing of like, well, I remember even when we were leaving, I was like, I still love IGN. I always will, and I'm gonna check IGN every day. Still, that's what I do every day. And I don't check IGN ever. But it's because I don't check anything except Twitter ever.
Exactly.
What are the news? The curated list of people I follow that I trust their opinions of are saying this, and that's where I'll click off to go read Patrick's story, or Jeff's doing a bunch of cool VR demos. Let's go see that at Giant Bomb, or you know what I mean. You or not you, but formerly you put up this really intriguing story. I'd love to see it, and that's where you see the fact of like for the .coms, their homepage traffic is so down. It was, IGN's was going down, I think, when we were there, and they talk about it openly and like how big mobile is and how big this is, and mainly how big it is to get your stuff out socially to bring people in. But then it does get me scared of like, how easy is it to get somebody in through the, through the window? Because I know how hard it is to get somebody to click a link, and that's not a joke. I mean, you know what I mean? You put a link in this video, this description, and you're looking at like an annotation in this video. It's like less than 1% are going to click that. So let alone to put out there and be like, we have a 35,000 word story about whatever. And you're like,
I wrote 12,000 words about a studio's 1997 origins.
Exactly.
Check it out. No fucking way. Yeah. I don't know. I think things will remain like at IGN, right? Like the biggest stories are always reviews, and it's always entertainment stuff. Like his entertainment stuff is blowing up because people who care about games care about the Avengers. People who care about the Avengers don't necessarily care about Far Cry Primal review.
Sure.
But both of those things do really, really well, and they do way better than the opinion piece that I wrote. So I say that like the most interesting content is where the people are going to thrive the most, and that's probably not true right now. But I don't know, like if somehow this all bottoms out because everyone's doing the exact same thing, it's going to be the differentiators like Patrick and Jason and the Giant Bomb guys are doing a lot of really great stuff, especially in video, things like that. Like those are going to be the kind of premium pieces of content that you seek out when you're like, oh, like I want to see a cool thing about a game. What did Giant Bomb say?
Well, and that's what's fascinating, I think, now. In the more as I continue to talk about it, and I think as you see it, like it starts falling away. Where you're AAA or indie or whatever, like and I'm not at all cursing them, but let's say the Gawker stuff goes badly, Kotaku does fold or whatever, right? Patrick, I could easily see going, I'm going to do this on my own. I'm going to make a Patreon, and I'm going to have this dedicated audience that supports me just like you guys support us, that we can then make content that gets out to as a billboard to more people to come in to see this. And like,
it also gives him the freedom to sell certain content to certain places. Like if he has a really great story and Entertainment Weekly wants it, then he can do that.
Yeah. It's fascinating, video games.
Games media is so weird. Like it's so, I don't know, man. It's like putting water in a bowl. You just like shake it up. It's like it's different every
the way
time.
It's changed. You know what I mean? To think of like what I was hired to do a little less than a decade ago. You know what I mean? To come in and all right, I remember being I have a PS2 and a debug PS2 at my desk and a PSP and this PS3 and you know what I mean? Like all these little tools there that were just like, I'm gonna sit there and play this and that's what it's gonna be.
Yep.
And then all that shit slowly evolved into being how crazy it is where you're playing at home and not doing anything else.
Yeah, because the job expectations change with the expectations of the audience, and those are constantly evolving. And you just have to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Before we go to topic 3, would you like more water?
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
I'm going to get you more water.
Thanks, man.
Did you take it out of the thingamajig or did you take it out of the faucet?
I refilled the thingamajig.
Okay,
so
cool.
now there's thingamajig water.
While I do this, you pimp your stuff and whatever you want to pimp. Just keep saying stuff for people to go do. And
all
stuff.
right. All right. I'll fill the air with some stuff. So as the video may have already showed, I am at Mitchy D on Twitter. That's kind of all I'm doing right now. Just tweeting some stuff. Just doing some stuff. I'm on Twitch at Mitchy D. Not at symbol, just my Twitch is Mitchy D, twitch.tv/Mitchy D. Trying to stream more Dota 2 lately. That's a fun video game that a lot of people like. No, just me and my friends. No, like 12 million people play that game. People always say, people like Colin Moriarty, that MOBAs are stupid. MOBAs are not stupid. MOBAs are too smart for Colin Moriarty and his people. That is a brilliant genre, and actually I think we are going to talk about it in a little bit, so we'll talk about that. Been playing some Dark Souls 3 lately. Speaking of which, I just see a copy right over there, so I'm reminded. The game's hard as hell, but it's so fucking good. And it is like way back to the like more in line with the original Dark Souls, thank you. I'm just talking to the kids.
You had the Tiger Cup?
Yeah. I'm just talking to the kids about Dark Souls 3 and how it's like, yeah, I know, I saw that copy. Listen, is anyone going to play that? Nobody at this house plays Xbox.
Oh, no. Do you not have a copy?
I don't have a copy.
Oh, yeah, there you go. You're the prize box winner.
Yeah!
No, they sent us a PS3 and an Xbox One. I was like, okay, that's funny.
Thanks.
Right into the library of kind of funny and right into the
Alexa
giveaway
got
pile.
it on PS4, so I've been playing it. And I don't have one for me when I move. Thank you.
You can do that. It's your goodbye present from us. It's kind of funny.
I love
and
this game
Namco
already
Bandai.
because it's like Dark Souls 1 was so good at having like cavernous depth in every area where it's like, I'm going to roll through this box and accidentally found a shortcut that goes down into this totally new area with boss that like is totally optional. Dark Souls 2 had none of that, and I was so disappointed in it. So Dark Souls 3, I'm still like 3 hours in. Fucking love it. It's so good.
Okay, cool.
I was telling Colin earlier, like I hope, like Colin and I were talking about how few games we play compared to how many we used to.
Yeah.
Because the significance of so many games, not to diminish their quality in any way, but they just feel like unnecessary. Like I jokingly used to measure the worth of other games and the amount of time I could play Dota 2 instead. And now that's like a legitimate thing because
no, I hear you.
Or I could like okay, I could play this game that's probably pretty cool, but I'm not going to finish it. And if I don't finish it, I'll feel like it wasn't worth it. So I'll just read a book. Or I'll just play 5 games of Dota 2, which will guaranteed give me a 10 out of 10 experience with 4 other friends, and I'll have a great time.
That's where it falls into like the Division's the first game in a while, probably since DC Universe Online, where it's like, fuck, I should be playing other things, but I'm going to keep playing this.
I've done Destiny for a while.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's exactly where, and it's like, I have 2 hours to kill right now, and I would love to start Republic on PS4. I'd love to get into Enter the Gungeon on PS4.
Republic, it's fucking awesome.
And I know, and that's the thing is, I already know it's great, and I'm anxious to play it, but it's like, Quantum Break, I have 2 hours right now,
really cool.
And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just get into something I already know, because I don't want to do tutorial and learning how to play, and what is this, and then when am I going to get back
that's
to it?
That's so fucking cool, like, and weird. Like, what does it say about us that we're the kind of people that demand innovation and cool new stuff in games, but we're totally happy to just revert to the stuff that we're comfortable with?
I mean, it's part of the investment, though, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's not that I don't think the Division is not doing anything new. It's, I mean, for me, like Destiny, I jumped into and I enjoyed where it was going, all these different things, but I didn't get the bug. You know what I mean? And so I was very much on the outside of the window a lot of times going like, oh, I'm glad you guys are having so much fun.
Fun in there.
I would love to.
Anybody want to come out and play?
Yeah, you know what I mean? But like, now that I'm on the inside of that, and granted, I'm not on the inside, like, I just hit level 30 last night. Fran, Ty, and I were playing, and it's like, great. And we had one of Fran's friends, Arcane, on helping us out, just getting through this thing or whatever. And he's like talking another language, which is like, to that point, it's like, ooh, I almost wish you weren't here, because now you're terrifying me to an extent of like, how many more millions of hours do I have to put in to see what you're talking about? But I'm excited to be there and do that now. How long? Like, I keep harkening back to this, that it's my first weekend and my only weekend in April home, where I'm not doing a trip or on something, and so I'm just gonna play games on something like drugs, where I'm gonna have time to play. So it's like, I know I'm gonna play. I'm like, this is what I was talking about earlier too, is to the point we're making. People are like, in the reviews, I didn't read them all because I don't want to have it spoiled, but I'm catching people being jerks about stuff or being nice about stuff or whatever. And Quantum Break's only 5.5 hours. I got through it in 6 hours, whatever. Blah.
Game took me 12 hours. What are you talking about?
Oh, perfect. Good. Well, some people are just, maybe they're skipping all the things or whatever.
Maybe.
But when I heard that, my reaction was like, oh, cool. I'm going to be able to play that and something else this weekend.
Somebody was like, Firewatch is only 2 hours. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to play that game 3 times. It's awesome.
Yeah. Games are fun, but we've gotten to a different place with them. We're old men now.
Yeah, like I still convince myself, I'll totally play Dragon Age Inquisition someday. And like, I love that franchise. I have the History of Thetis book. Yeah. Where I'm reading it and I'm like obsessed with the Kunari, and I love the lore of that world, and I love the story of its like ancient gods and history, and like, I love it. And I'm not super into fantasy stuff, so it's really interesting that like I really love it because it stands out as like, oh, this is the fantasy thing that I love. Yeah. But Inquisition is so alarmingly big that I'm like, I really want to play it, and I've played the first 6 hours before, and I loved it. I can't wait to do it. But man, it's just like, I fear so much that I'm just going to fall off and not finish, and it'll be like, man, why did I do that? Like, I knew I wasn't going to finish it. Why did I start? But also like, man, what if this is my new thing? What if I play 200 hours of Dragon Age? Yep. Both of those things are terrifying. I don't know how to make that choice. So I didn't do it. Same with The Witcher 3.
See, Witcher 3 was when I was about to bring up.
Phenomenal game that I will love, and I will play obsessively, but I'm scared of that. Yeah. So I don't do it.
That's why I never played hours. I played 26 hours of Witcher 3, had a great time, not even on Act 1. And it's like, I put it down for Arkham Knight, which became Metal Gear, which became, Fallout, which became, like, you can just see the thing, and it's like, there was a weekend where I popped it back in. I'm like, oh, finally something in. I popped in. I'm like, where the fuck am I? What the fuck am I doing? And it's like, it's not even the same experience anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not lost in that world. And so it's like, well, I'm never going to have that chance.
RPGs are especially bad for that.
Yeah, that's my terrifying thought for Persona 5. When Persona 5 comes out, I'm just going to shut everything else.
Just playing Persona 5.
Take time off and make sure I
cannot wait.
I love Persona 5.
Me too.
I hope.
No, we will.
Okay. They can't screw it up, right?
No, it's impossible.
No, exactly. They're like the Zack Snyder of video games. They can't screw it up.